Want to give us an update on Blackshear and his situation?
You know, it's not going real well. It's a slow process. I think learn from the Kevin Ware situation when you don't play at all. And he's been at it now for about 2 weeks, and it's a slow process trying to get him in shape. He's physically healthy, which is good. Just a slow process right now.
Do you have any thoughts about when he might be able to?
I was hoping by the DePaul game, yeah. But it's getting him in shape is proved more difficult than some other players. So we'll just play it day to day.
What about West Virginia? What are your thoughts on that? They've had struggles now, it looks like, at least in the one.
You know, West Virginia is, when you play Notre Dame, it's very tough. What Notre Dame tries to do is make the game go from 40 minutes to 22 to 25 minutes, take time off the clock, and they think they're the better shooting team in a half court, which they are mostly, always have been. And they did a good job. West Virginia took a 4-point lead late in the game, and very similar to the North Carolina Duke game, they gave up 2 threes, which were the difference maker. So I wouldn't say they're struggling. I say they're the opponent and the schedule sometimes dictates where your struggles will lie.
Rick, how do you try and slow down Kevin Jones?
Well, what Notre Dame did is they took time off the clock and cut down on his possessions. And but he's the best offensive rebounder in the country. So he scores. He has a very good mid-range game. Obviously, very good off the offensive glass, and he's also can make the three. So although he's only 6'7", he's very long. So he's taller because of his length.
You know, it's a big improvement collective from last year to this year. It seems to me that he's hitting the hook shot better. He's left-handed. I don't know if that presents.
The left-handed hook shot, yeah. It's a very unique shot. Very unique shot. It's sort of hard to fathom how he makes that shot, but he does. It's tremendous, with tremendous accuracy. Very physical basketball player. Big, creates a lot of duck-in situations that allows Kevin Jones to go offensive rebound when you go after him.
During this win streak that you guys have, I mean, it's not huge, but have increased the rebound margin to 6. And I was just wondering if there's anything in particular that you guys have done to get to the ball better.
I just think the improvement of Shane Bohannon and the wake-up of Kyle Kuric have been 2 major factors. I think Chris Smith is starting to rebound better, but without question, the most glaring reason is Shane Bohannon.
But it's kind of the wake-up.
I think Kyle was just trying to be a spot-up shooter, and I told him that's not going to cut it. That you've got to do other things to make us reach our potential. And he's a very smart young man and realizes that he has to do more things.
What are those things? It's the mid-range things, rebounding?
No, rebounding especially. You know, he was a terrific offensive rebounder as a sophomore, and at times as a junior, and he got away from it.
Rick, is there a thought to trying to keep Kevin Jones from being the guy who beats you in the game? Like if you can force the other guys to try and make the plays, is there a way to try and do that?
Yeah, I think there is. You know, we did it in the Georgetown game, and the young freshman beat us, and had a great night. So obviously they got 3 guys that score most of their points, and you've got to be concerned about that. But when the game is close, and Bob always likes to call those timeouts, with those situation games, and he's very good at it. It's going to go to one of those guys, and Kevin Jones is a likely candidate.
How would you describe games in Morgantown?
Well, this will probably be the last time we go there. I mean, it's a very difficult place to play, indicative of their home record. And we've always enjoyed competing in hostile environments, and probably the last time we get a chance to do that. We had to win the Big East crown there one year, and we understand the daunting task at hand. You always hear this expression this time of year. They really need the game. You're going to hear that expression probably in the next 7 games over and over. We really need it. They really need it. Cincinnati, you'll hear it when we play Cincinnati. You'll hear it when we play USF. You'll hear, just about every game. So there's a lot at stake in the last 7 games for everybody who plays the game, and we understand that.
But Kuric in practice Have you seen any kind of, have you seen him step out of his shell in terms of taking a stronger leadership position? I mean, has he ever been any more vocal, or is he just kind of still?
He always leads by example. He's not a vocal leader. That's more Peyton Siva than now leads by example.
Chuck Bryant has also been one of their key players. What kind of improvements has he made from last year?
Well, again, against Notre Dame, he wasn't as big a factor as he is in the open court. They beat Cincinnati and he did a lot of really good things in that game. And he's very good in the open court. He'll be in the open court much more against us than he was with Notre Dame. But they've got good senior play certainly, and two guys averaging 20 and 17.
You notice the difference confidence-wise from you guys in practice? I mean, does it seem like they're, maybe in a different space than they were probably a month ago?
To be honest with you, CL, I know players say this all the time, but I haven't seen any difference in our team when they were 12-0. I haven't seen, and when they lost that brief losing streak they were in, and now. I think everybody looks for reasons why you win and why you lose. I'm a little more pragmatic than that. So it's I sort of have an understanding why you win and why you lose, and players will come up with things that, to me as a coach, aren't the reasons why you win and why you lose. But I won't dispute it, because if that's the way they feel, let them feel that way.
Well, why are you winning now?
I think we're winning because we've had time to keep a unit together and practice and execute. I think we're winning and because sometimes we're executing better due to practice, where we made some mistakes where we missed free throws, and then on the winning streak we made free throws. So I think also by practice the players are improving dramatically. Gorky, Shane, Jared, Russ, Kevin are all improving because of practice time. Peyton. Practice doesn't always make perfect, but it definitely improves you.
What are your thoughts on, I know you talked about this on the radio show the other night, but Memphis joining the Big East and how much that helps in basketball, at least down the road?
I think it's great for not only the rivalry that we've had with them throughout the years, but I think I was very concerned. I'm one of the early coaches in the Big East, and when the opportunity came and Tom asked me to try and do everything possible to help bridge us into the Big East, I was very excited to do that and to see us go into that. And obviously with the defections, I got very concerned the other way. That something that was Dave Gavitt's dream and brainchild would not be as strong. So, in his memory this year, we were all very concerned that we get back to our culture of the Big East, which is an inner city game that considers basketball their focal point, not their only point, and we were losing focus with that, and getting Memphis creates that focus back to Dave Gavitt's dream.
Does it give it a chance to still be the best basketball league, or without them, be more questions?
We're always going to be a great league. We have been the best the last few years, but the way the ACC, the way the SEC, the way the Pac, what do you call it, Pac-12? Pac-12 has been down the last few years. They could come full circle and be up. When you have major conferences, the big, whatever Kansas is known as the big what today, or the Big Ten where Indiana is very, it's just cyclical. It's almost like high school players. New York used to be such a haven for great basketball recruits. Well, now it's in a major drought, and primarily because the great players are leaving, going to prep schools, every one of them. So, and it's like 1 year Chicago will be great, then the West Coast will be great. So it's all over year to year, and certainly adding Memphis strengthens us. And the Big East is always going to be great now that we have done something about our defections. I mean, it's going to be different, but it's still going to be great. I still today, as this year, we probably will be the last year we see the Big East tournament the way it is. It's hard to fathom no Syracuse fans going to the Big East tournament, because they've dominated the Big East tournament with their fans. Syracuse, on the side of their court, it says New York's college. And they've never had that before, but they put that on the side of their court. And when you go to Madison Square Garden, whether they're playing St. John's or they're playing Rutgers or whoever they're playing, the Garden is packed 70% with Syracuse fans. You won't see that on Tobacco Road.
Would you still like to see Temple, or do you think they have enough?
You know, at this point in time, I thought Memphis and Temple were two logical teams to help the Big East. I still believe that. It was crucial that we would do something positively. And I admire the job that John Marinado has done, because, you know, it's very difficult to put together all those West Coast schools at once. That man has gone without sleep to do that. He's done a remarkable job. And then I kept texting him every day, where is Memphis and Temple, where is Memphis and Temple? And I've been talking to him, you know, I still think that Temple would be a great addition to our conference. But that's for him to decide, along with the presidents. You know, I know for a fact that South Florida had to say, look, in the back of their minds, they probably did not want to share their area with Central Florida. But they said, for the good of the conference, if it's going to help the conference, we've got to put our individual agendas to the side. And South Florida did, and allowed Central Florida to come in for the good of the conference. So I admire their stance very much, South Florida, by taking that. And that's the way all of us have to be in strengthening the Big East to where it has to be.
So you're pretty confident, though, that the future for U of L is in the Big East?
That's the one thing, I'm sure the Big East, but that's the one thing I'm not, I cannot say anything about that, because I'm not in charge of that. My voice is only to try and to stick up for the tradition of what Dave Gavitt built, but those are questions that Tom George and Dr. Ramsey answer, and I'm just like Charlie and Jeff Walls and everybody else here who really enjoyed the Big East. My personal statement, I want to be in the Big East as a basketball coach, but we have no say in what happens to the future of Louisville. Only Tom George can answer that question, along with Dr. Ramsey.
How much does that come up with recruits? In basketball,
Never one time. That's the fascinating thing about this whole thing, that the assistant coaches have never gotten a question. I've never gotten a question about leagues. It's mind-boggling to me how that's never come up, even by a coach. I can understand a recruit not talking about it. It's never, ever come up one time.
Why would that be? You would think that would
Bizarre,
be,
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's bizarre. I think they realize that Louisville is way above that to a certain degree in their minds. You know, they don't look at that. They don't look at who you're going to play. Are you going to be big time? And they know that answer. So it really is strange. But you know, I'm always loyalty means an awful lot to me, and the Big East gave us a great break, a monumental break, by allowing them to join that conference. It took Louisville from being a great university to being part of a great conference, and that's the one thing that when you look at top 8 traditions in all of basketball, Louisville, without question, is there. But Louisville was missing something the other 7 always had, and that was a great conference.